Last night I was watching TV and right in the moment I wanna go to sleep, a documentary just show up on my TV and it was about this flight, Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. If you don't know, Malaysia Flight 370 was one of those most bizarre incidents in air aviation. It disappeared on the 8th of March 2014, so more than 10 years ago, more than 11 years ago. And for some reason, the weirdness of this flight is very interesting. The story is very interesting. So, probably the main flight was from Kuala Lumpur, Malaya, to Beijing, China. That was a very well-established route. Everybody pretty much didn't suspect anything because you're gonna see the story is pretty interesting in the end. But at the flight, look at this. This was the cabin. The flight was, I think, was an Airbus, if I don't mistaken, or a Boeing 777. So keep in mind, 2014. Now, this was the interior. We're gonna see because it has some importance here also. The funny thing is, when they departure from the Kuala Lumpur airport, they crossed pretty much the island and then they got in the South China Sea. And right here at this point is pretty much, let's say, the air-sea border, what do you want to call it, with Vietnam. And in this point, the control tower, I don't know exactly how they call it, the traffic control tower, tell the pilot to switch to Vietnam frequency. And if I remember correctly, it was 120.1 or something like that on the frequency radio. And then when they switch, obviously you're gonna lose contact with the Kuala Lumpur tower, and you have to appear on the Vietnamese tower, control tower. But that never happened. So the weird story just started to begin exactly in this point from here, because the flight was pretty much, like I said, a very well established point. Was from the Malaya pretty much to China, from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing, and in this point right here, the story pretty much begins. So in this point, from what I seen the documentary, the pilot decided to just go back, but the interesting just started because he switched pretty much the GPS track, I think they call it, on the airplane. So the airplane pretty much disappeared off the AV radar, from the Vietnamese radar, which they say didn't even enter in their airspace, and also from the Malaya radars, from the control tower. So in this point, the plane was missing. And you can see a path here that they discovered with the military radar. That was the last primary radar contact, and they saw from this point, like I said, from this point right here, when they are about to cross in Vietnam airspace, all the contact, all the communication was lost. They say a team from France. They say that it was a deliberate act from the pilot or someone from the crew, from one of those pilots, that they were in the airplane, because there is no way they can actually a system like that can fail. But we're gonna see that later. Now, from this path of flying, you're gonna see that was picked up by a military radar after a few days when they actually started looking for the airplane. So here you can see this path here is the age right here, the point when they have the last contact with the airplane on the radar. This one was a military one, because at this point when they switch off the system, the plane was pretty much out of the radar, the civilian radar, let's call it like that. And then you can see even more here. That's exactly the point here. Look at this. Exactly when they turn left 180 degrees almost, and then continue back. Now, what's interesting here, look at this. Just go. This is much better. Look at this. They go from here. They switch here. They switch the system off, and then they change the flight path. But the interesting thing is, they switch from here, but then they continue the flight in the South Indian Ocean, in the south direction, on, let's say, on Australian direction. I would say this path right here, you're gonna see. So, but then around this area, the plane pretty much disappeared. They tracked this one, this plane here with a satellite. They didn't have any radar coverage, they didn't have anything, so they used a satellite to pretty much pinpoint, not exactly pinpoint, but make an area when the plane could, let's say, crash in the sea. And they calculate this one by how much fuel the plane still have in its reservoirs, in tank. And this line, they were searching for quite a while on exactly this red square, but it's like I say, it became interesting with the time. So look at this. This is the point where they lost the radar contact, and then judging by the satellite, they thought this is gonna be the area when they have to search, because this is pretty much in this line the airplane pretty much run out of fuel and it has to go down, and with no land in this area, clearly they have to go in the sea. Now the interesting fact I'm gonna see here again, another map if you are interesting. Now like I said, they're already 10 years off of this and they started using all those underwater radars to pick a signal from the black box. They didn't get it, and all that stuff you can see here. But the thing is, right here in this area, let me check if you can go back. Right in that area, they got nothing. They searched for, I don't know exactly, probably for weeks, months, who knows. I didn't exactly look into that, and right here they just look at it. It's a big area, but they didn't find anything. So pretty much after a while, the government, just from Australia especially, I think the Australian government has the authority here to just primary search in those South Indian Ocean if something happened. There was a Chinese government involved, I think there was Malayan government involved, and I think even the Vietnamese government was involved in searching operation to find the airplane, but they didn't find anything, obviously. So a few months or a few years after that, someone find missing parts. Look at this, part of the wing, I think it was. They find missing parts here on the coast of Madagascar. No, sorry, not in the coast of the Renoir, one of those small islands from French. They find missing parts, and then months and months after that, they're still finding on the coast of Mozambique, I think, was on the southeast Africa and Madagascar also, but the first one I was found right here. And they keep finding those small parts in this area. So clearly by now they just pretty much says that this is a sort of confirmation that the plane go down, and pretty much there's no survivor, and nothing can survive one of those crashes. But what is interesting right now, they find a new technology, I think on not on the radar, but on wave frequency radio, that they say they have one of those signals that they think is gonna be just outside this area. So just a bit, they're looking in a good area compared with how big the ocean it is, but just something in this area now they want to look, because they have a new technology, say not the new technology, but a new way of that they discover it. So when an airplane, they have waves all over the planet, and when a plane cross those waves, they make a small distortion in the field. So someone, I think from the London, if I remember correctly, or from England, something like that, find a pattern with this plane. When they just cross these waves, they're gonna perturb the signal very so slightly, and they find that the last distortion of the signal from the airplane was around this area right here, so just outside the searching area. So that is gonna give them hope, because they need to find the black box of the airplane so they can actually understand what happened, because at some point a lot of people just speculate that was a deliberate attack from the pilot, that especially here when they switch off the system and they just flying back, then the last signal was here on the radar, and then for whatever reason decided to fly it in the south of the ocean, in Indian Ocean, toward Australia, and then crash around to this area right here. So that is the interesting part. And also when I Google it today, I just find out, look at this, this is a brand new from 21st March news, that they just want to actually go back and find this airplane, especially the black box, obviously after they already have 10 years, 11 years underwater. So they want to find the black box so you can actually understand what happened, truly what happened. So that's actually, I think, a very interesting news, I would say. I'm gonna link all those in the description if you want to read them. So pretty much they're gonna go back and find the airplane this time after 11 years of searching, and they give up back then because I think the operation cost around $120 million, something. That's a huge money they put in this operation, and they didn't find the airplane. They just find a few years after that. In Renault, they find the first parts of the plane, and they find also parts from interior of the plane, from the seats. I think one of those was from the TV that are in the headrest of the chairs. So that's one of the most interesting thing, I would say. But the pilot of the plane also, for reasons that probably we'll find out after they recover the black box, they have a YouTube channel. So you can actually, I'm gonna link his YouTube channel. This is the pilot, from what I understand, and you can watch some of those videos. Nothing to do with, I guess, the job that he does it, but it's interesting to just find this was the guy to actually pilot the plane. Now probably you're gonna find some new information, I would say, once they get back to the searching operation. Now we have, probably 10 years later, much better technology. So I think once they start looking for this airplane again, probably they're gonna find it in less than a month, I would say. So anytime, I would say, from, let's say, probably by the end of the year, they're gonna find the plane and also the black box. So that would be a very interesting story to tell again, exactly how things happened, because it's very interesting how a pilot can fly from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing, right at the border with air border with Vietnam, just switch the system off, turn the airplane back. Then last time appeared on the military radar was around this area, and then from this area decided to fly south and then crash in one of those areas right here, which I think it's so bizarre, because what was the reason to just flying that far away and knowing that you cannot land anywhere, especially with the fuel that you have left in a tank, and also no communication, switched all the system off, all the radars, nothing from outside world, and pretty much crashed the plane, I would say. And that would be maybe it was something different, who knows. On the board was, I think, 239 occupants, 227 passengers, and 12 members of the crew, and presume, obviously, every single one of them dead with no survivor. But we're gonna see pretty much, I think, like I say, by the end of the year, if they really go to find it, let's say in a few months, I would say you're gonna find the real answer by the end of the year, what exactly happened to the flight 370 from Malaysia Airlines. So that will be, I'll probably make another video if they really release the information and see exactly what happened. But from this one, yeah, they pretty much announced that they're gonna go back to finding the plane. Look at this right here. They're gonna look the plane, and I have all I believe that they're gonna find it this time very, very easy and very fast, especially, like I said, with the new technology that we have now, and also with the area that they're looking right now, and have much more data and much more precise. They will find it probably, like I say, probably once they arrive in the area, probably in less than a month, they're gonna find the airplane and gonna see the black box, and gonna see exactly what happened with the flight 370.